Girl rests her head on her arm and stares off into the distance, lost in memory. Stories by the fire. In the desert where I was born, my fondest memory. When the day is done, hosts and guests, parents and children, friends and rivals, all gather by the fire under the stars to tell their tales. All they did, all they witnessed, all they heard from other travelers, and the whispers carried by the desert wind. My sister and I often snuck in to hear these stories, hiding in the shadows just beyond the circle of light and warmth. We are hellspawn, you see. Tieflings are unwelcome guests in Kadira, unblessed by the light of merciful Sarenrae. We grew up sleeping in a common tent, scavenging food here and there like orphans, all but outcast and disowned. We were 13 when we left, and set off to find happiness in the cities, and everyone we left behind sighed with relief. My sister and I, we are twins, but as different as the sun and moon. Her name is Kanara, which means silent flame. She is fire, a cold fire, but one that turns everything to ash. I am a river. It brings me joy to give water to tired travelers and nurture green shoots, but when I flood, I am bound to bring death. The girl's eyes are full of sorrow. Despite our differences, we are one. Our lives belong to divine Nethys, and by his mercy, we now live in turns. While one of us is here, the other sleeps in another plane, and when she wakes up, we switch places, just as you just witnessed. So this is why you don't remember me when we were talking to Jamandi Aldori. How could I remember you? I had never met you at the time. That was Kanara. She was the one who talked to you at the reception and helped you fight off the assassins. We usually write each other notes recounting in detail all that happened and describing any friends that Kaisi had made. But that time we switched right in the middle of a mansion engulfed in fire filled with assassins. Kanara didn't have time to write any notes. How is it you began to live in turns? This story, it's one I've never told anyone before, no one in the whole world, and it's not easy to confide in a stranger. There's too much grief and guilt in it. If you don't mind, I'd rather not go into the details. You see, my sister died, and I couldn't get over it. Kanaro was killed by a Soul Eater, a monster summoned by secret followers of Abaddon's archdemons. Those who summoned him died in the fight, but the beast was too strong for my sister, and I wasn't even there to protect her. Calicate catches her breath. We just had a fight, and we both did stupid things just before, but I don't want to talk about that now. Dude, I'm guessing she tried to bring her back like some Full Metal Alchemist nonsense, and then now they're in one body. When I found out what happened to my sister, I was ready to make a deal with any power, if only I could just get her back, and I found such power. I was contacted by the Arcanothane, the herald of the god Nethys himself. She promised she would return Kanara to life, but on two conditions. First, we must both keep the arrangement a secret. Second, we would never be able to meet again. And so our new life began. Now we flee through the world guarding our secret, always introducing ourselves as Kaisi to hide that there are two of us. And we switch places with each other at random. While one lives, the other sleeps in a demi-plane, one created especially for us. You just revealed your secret to me. It means you broke one of the rules set by the deity's herald. Yes, will you make me regret this, Mukluk? I felt you might be someone who could help my sister and me change our fates. You can't control these switches? No, we can't. They happen at random, most often while we're sleeping, but sometimes in broad daylight. That's why we can never stay in one place for long. When someone witnesses us switch, we usually tell them tales of a special magical way of traveling, but people start noticing strange things and begin to figure things out. Truth be told, I'm so tired of having to pretend. We knew this couldn't last forever, and now the truth is finally out. What's the point in all this? And what can I do to help? That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. Conoro is supposed to tell you of an ancient treasury we've been looking for. Gold isn't the only thing of value in the place. It may contain an ancient relic taken by the Taldan Raiders from a respected Kadiran temple of Nethys. It's an unusual relic called the Disc of the Eclipse. I once heard a beautiful story that it was created from the shadow that hides the sun and the moon, but I don't think that could be the truth. Nethys is the god of magic, who was once a mortal wizard, and relics from his temples are usually very powerful. There are many among his servants who think that solving the mysteries of magic, even rivaling their deity, is the best way to serve him. One such follower created the disc long ago in the distant past. According to legend, it gave its owners control over planar travel, but only pairs of wizards bound by unbreakable ties could use it. While one of them traveled the planes, the other was his anchor, in our world, and they could switch between. Do you see now why we so desperately wish to find the disc? It might help us understand how the switch between me and Conora works, and it should make our divine patron happy. Nethys and his assistants value the desire to understand the mysteries of magic above all else. Pretty sure the management stat for the kingdom is based on a stat bonus determined by the roll, like Wiz for High Priest, but I haven't played this one in years. Yes, region is Charisma, Counselor's Wisdom, General Strength, etc. That's not Nethys's portfolio raising the dead, I mean. I don't know anything about Nethys. I know a lot about Pharasma. Nethys I don't. How did this disc come to the Stolen Lands? It was brought here by Taldans from the 5th Army of Exploration. Taldor and Kadira were enemies for ages. Thousands of years ago, a soldier broke into the Temple of Nethys and stole the relic, to sell it or to secretly hoard it as an heirloom. Hundreds of years later, his own kin, or the kin of its 100th buyer, brought the disc into these strange lands where the Taldans had come uninvited as usual, and which they finally vanished from without a trace. Sometimes history is as intricate lace, you never guess where it begins and where it ends. Tell me about the location of the treasury. It was called Sorrow Flow in the chronicle we read. It was once a Taldan town founded by the veterans of the 5th Army of Exploration. It stood on the shores of a turbulent river, and that was what destroyed it. One night, a terrible flood devastated the settlement, killing many and driving the rest to flee. Only the tower on the cliff remained, which was too high for the flood to reach. Water covered the ruins for a long time, but last year it receded. My friends found a chronicle which recounted the destruction of the city, and spoke of the disk of the eclipse which was kept there. They managed to track down the ruins, but were frightened away by the monsters and beasts that roam the area. If this can help, I agree. Kaliki's sad eyes get a little warmer. Thank you. I will wait for you there at Sorrow Flow, and please let's explore the ruins together, just the two of us. I don't want to give myself away in front of your companions. Breaking the Arcanothane's conditions once was enough. I have no wish to anger our god. So long. I don't know how good we are in a fight, just the two of us. Can I have her join the party now? No, I cannot have her join the party. Okay, well, we found her. I guess this was her house? I thought this was the tavern when I first walked in here.
How much longer, I wonder?
Okay. Let's put him away, get her again. He wants to see Dwarven Ruins. I don't have any tasks for them. I've done his task. Let's check the kingdom management. Let's see, he's still doing that. Can't rebuild the thing. That needs 1500 BP. Can't do anything regions. Okay, so there's really nothing else I can do right now. Ford across the Skunk River. Leave the wilderness. Okay. Ruined Watchtower. Do you want to enter this location? Yes. I might be able to attempt to cure one of the curses that's on the party.
I am prepared.
Oh my gosh. Whew. Okay, it's gonna take a while, but wow, we got rid of it finally. Shield.
Don't hesitate.
Okay, so let's see, she's got 29 armor.
No mistakes.
Bark skin.
Give the order.
Now she's got 31. And if I
Focus on
cast... Hold on a sec. Can I do... Resist energy communal. Delay poison communal would be nice, but I can't fit all three of those. Okay, forget it. Alright, let's do magical vestment on her armor.
I'm listening.
And now she's got 32 armor.
You can count on me.
Her mage armor is on cooldown somehow. Alright, and remove fear. I'll go real silly if there's nothing to fight here.
Ever end?
Actually, I can do...
Ready and willing.
I got 2 more enlarged persons. Well, maybe I don't have to do it yet. I got 2 more enlarged persons, though. 29 AC. No, 32 now. And sometimes it's not enough.
I appreciate privacy.
Running won't help
Serves
you.
you right.
Just a bunch of knickknacks that we can sell. What is this? Mushrooms. Okay. Yeah, as Nandhar, my go-to strategy in D&D games is usually to get one person in the party and just they go all in on AC and they just try to stand in the front and get in the enemy's way.
Your attention.
I just as much as
To
possible.
victory.
Oh, I remember this.
This
I think we
is
just
for
found
you.
the gnome chef. I'm gonna do a channel energy in the middle of this just to help heal the NPCs, make sure everyone lives. More kobolds. Tartuk. So the gnome invites some of his friends. Stupid, slow, sluggish gnome. Gnome! Stupid! There's a purple kobold on the riverbank who looks like your old acquaintance Tartuccio. Kobolds want this cart. Kobolds shall have it. The horse skull hides most of the kobold's face, but you see his vicious eyes glinting through empty sockets staring at you. By order of myself, the glorious King Tartuk. The kobold pounds his chest with his fist. Tartuk, king! The head of the gnome expedition wipes his brow and glares at the kobold. This bastard was the one talking our ears off while the rest of them were trying to steal our cart. King Tartuk! The gnome looks at you and winks. What do you say to a bit of regicide? Tartuccio, I recognize you. What is this new disguise and why are you not dead? How dare you speak like that to King? Kobolds attack. Sure does. Sure does, sure does. He gave them a buff of some sort.
We will be victorious.
Summon some wolves. Oh, we only got one. Right there. See you soon enough. This is not over. Okay. Let's get any of the stuff that sells but doesn't weigh a lot. And there was a container over here I saw, but I wasn't able to get it before the fight broke out. Shard of Knight's Bracers. Interesting. Alright, quick save. Alright, what's going on here? While the gnomes were busy fighting the kobolds, furiously cursing and diligently punching their unwelcome guests right in their draconish snouts, the cart was all but forgotten. The unwitting cause of the fight, it was being dragged away by the scared ponies when it slid down the ford, sinking all the way up to the coachman's seat in the river. This was where the Skunk River flows into the Tuskwater, and the current becomes excessively spiteful, cold, stubborn, and turbulent. Having taken hold of the gnome's cart, the Skunk River must have decided to drag it down amid all the commotion, but it was caught in the act. The surviving gnomes, led by the head of the gnome expedition, an extremely loud and crabby fellow, but not without some managerial talent, were able to catch the cart before it floated away. Faces red and grunting from the strain, they struggled to keep it from drowning entirely. Just then, a package fell into the water. With a heartbreaking splash, it vanished over the current, only to resurface 10 meters down the river. No, the head of the gnome expedition moaned as he glowered at the package. That was Alchemy in Life, the latest issue! After plunging into the cold river, the ponies immediately lost their nerve. Swiveling their ears and twitching, they tried to chew through the reins and throw off the load. Why are you just standing around? Go on, help them! The head of the gnome expedition was visibly dissatisfied as he shouted. One of us tried to jump onto the cart to untie the ponies still standing in the water. Choose a character. Octavia. Or... yeah, Octavia's got the best thing. Going for that. Octavia nimbly climbed onto the roof of the cart and carefully crawled toward the ponies hitched on the riverbank. The ponies twitched and neighed nervously, making the process of freeing them from the cart even more difficult. Oh, I thought she was just doing one check. She had to do both? Once the job was done and they sensed they were finally free, they ran off into the nearby forest, and the head of the gnome expedition burst into another round of swearing. So he just lost his horses. While the gnomes were busy fighting the kobolds, fears, let's see. Okay. Gathering our strength, let's see. Gathering our strength, we began pulling the cart from the river. Ready? Ah, my foot! The head of the gnome expedition yelled, his face red and angry. With help like this, my positions will be down the river in a flash. Just go to the camp or find those runaway ponies, or find some other way to help. Gods. We left the cart alone for a moment, hoping to find something more useful. I'm glad I quick saved before this. I feel like I'm gonna cost this guy all of his worldly possessions in a moment. You're at war with kobolds now? And mites.
You deserved it.
Nah, I don't want to know.
Kobold Boomsayer.
Someone help me?
That's an interesting one.
Ready for anything.
So it was just spamming like Sound Blast. Kobold corpses are badly burned by fire and acid. Mouth-watering broth is simmering in the pot. Kobold Archer. Psi +1. Nothing over here. The gnomes fought fiercely, but eventually they were outnumbered. The camp looks habitable. Its owners must be somewhere nearby. It's the ones in the river. What did I just find? A crowbar. Okay, so that's going to help us somehow, some way, shape, or form. Alright, take this back down here. We could use a really good crowbar to hold the cart's wheels. We set up a crowbar under the cart's wheel. Set under the wheel, the crowbar wedged into position against the stones on the riverbed, making the process of pulling the cart out of the riverbed easier. Why are you standing around? Go on, help them. We tied a rope to the cart. 1, 2, 3, and the rope was securely tied to the cart, making it easier to pull. A good lesson for every adventurer, never leave home without a rope. Rope is your best friend. Gathering our strength, we began pulling the cart. While you're certain you're ready, then let's do it. But be careful. Imagine the cart's full of gold or ale or some other thing you couldn't bear to lose. Valerie frowned. Better you should trust in our dignity than our greed, Sir Gnome. The gnome rolls his eyes. For God's sake, whatever, just pull the cart. We tried to pull the cart. The cart cracked and creaked, sounding as though it were sobbing. The board strained under the combined stress of the rushing water's pull against everyone trying to pull the cart ashore. Unfortunately for the cart, both sides were of equal strength. Something had to be done or the poor cart would be torn to pieces. Oh god, it's only using me for these checks. This is terrible. I'm not good at any of these things, and it won't let me use my party members. Why think when you have strong hands? The Baron decided that if the cart won't give, we just pull harder. Oh my god. This is a 45% chance. Oh my god, it succeeded. After everyone struggled together for a while, the cart finally made it out of the muddy riverbed and rolled back onto the rocky ground of the waiting fort, prompting some seeming indignant sloshes and squelches as the river released its trophy and rushed along in search of easier prey. Losing no time, the head of the gnome expedition jumped inside. For a good while, rattling and swearing were all that could be heard from inside the cart, until the gnome's face finally reappeared from under the rooftop, seemingly satisfied. Almost everything's still in place, he announced, cheerfully jumping from the cart. It's all wet and crumpled, but at least nothing's missing. Thank you, travelers. If not for your help, guided by my keen supervision, of course, I'd have to say goodbye to all my possessions. Oh my gosh. Talk to Jubilost. The gnome that stands before you wears dirty and ragged clothes. They used to look stylish and wealthy long ago, but those times are long gone. His black hair is matted, a deep, fresh scratch across his cheek. Despite of this rather pathetic look, the gnome behaves with inner dignity and even manages to maintain superior manner.
Jubilos Nartropple, at your grace's service. Your help with these kobolds and my almost drowned cart was timely indeed. By the way, it's a shame no one organized a greeting party when such a famous and popular person as myself arrived to your capital. I wasn't expecting a red carpet covered with rose petals, but you could at least have sent ahead some delegation. Oh, at least some of my servants are still alive. Do you know how much it costs to train a proper servant?
Jubilost jabbers too fast, never stopping even to take a breath. You can see he's piled up some emotions and he needs to get them out of his system.
Sounds like your servants are nothing but tools to you. Truly, with masters like that, being a servant is not much of an improvement over being a slave.
What's this then? Huh. Run along, little girl. The grown-ups are talking.
Oh my god. Dude, she's gonna melt him with an acid splash.
So, you're not only arrogant, but a boorish swine as well. Why am I not surprised at all?
Jubilost clears his throat, paying no attention to the fuming mage.
Also, while I'm on that, I'd like to make an official announcement. The roads in your barony are in terrible condition. People must search for wading fords to cross the rivers because no one had bothered themselves with building bridges, and honest travelers have to take the risk of being attacked by kobolds at any moment. So, how did you say your barony was called? Whatever, never mind. When I draw the map of these lands, I will call them Maybe Local Baron Will Help. I guess it's a fitting name.
The gnome falls silent at last. He just watches you with his shifty eyes opening and closing his mouth, as if he wants to say something more but hasn't come up with anything yet.
You think too highly of yourself, Sir Gnome. Behave with some dignity while you're on these lands.
Oh, I see. The very spirit of knighthood embodied. So, what do you propose me to do, Sir Knight? Should I lie?
By no means. But you shall not be so blunt. I bid you to express your opinion in a more courteous form.
Your problem, Sir Knight, is that you worry too much about form and appearance. Unsurprisingly so, considering your pretty face. As for me, I worry solely about the content.
Valerie blushes even more and turns away. It seems to you that the gnome has stepped on her toes. How do you know I am a baron?
I've already told you I visited your capital some time ago. Weren't you listening to me? And I'm used to being greeted by officials when I arrive to settlements of at least some importance. The glory of myself and my exploits usually precedes me, and officials usually prefer to be on good terms with me.
He smiles slyly. I didn't know you'd come.
Yes, you're right. I should have remembered that your lands are in the middle of nowhere, and you don't get updates on important things in time.
Ah, so what happened here? How did your cart end up in the river?
My party and I set up camp at the bank of this river. We'd just finished kindling the fire when that purple bastard appeared. You know what he told me? He introduced himself as the king of the kobolds and told me he needed our clothes because he wanted to dress his subjects properly, you see, as long as they've established the kingdom of their own. That's literally what he said. I wonder, where did he learn the words? Obviously, I told
Wait
him
till
to
he
buzz
learns that
off.
that was a
Some
gnome in
kobold wants to
disguise.
strut around wearing the clothes of the great cartographer Jubilos Nartropple. No way. So I've been explaining my position to him, being rather eloquent too, suggesting he and his so-called kingdom might as well fall into the deepest sinkhole. In the meantime, I've noticed that kobolds have already started to untie my cart. Well, I called my men to keep the cart safe. They couldn't guess what to do on their own, just stood there with their mouths ajar. Then things heated up as the fighting started, and while we were fighting, the ponies dragged the cart to the river. Ah, stupid animals.
You said you were famous, but I don't know you. What are you famous for?
That was either a stupid and offensive joke or a case of total ignorance. The latter, I hope. I'm famous as a traveler, a cartographer, an alchemist, and a journalist. The students of all the major universities study the world using my maps. My articles for different journals are well known everywhere, from Andorran to Brevoy. You've definitely read some issues of National Alchemy, haven't you? Culinary Almanac of the Inner Sea? Or the most scandalous one, The Independence, describing benefits and drawbacks of governments and regimes in different states?
Oh, that positively sounds scandalous.
Didn't read any of these. Oh, well, don't answer that. I don't want to spoil my impression of your barony. It's spoiled enough already. It would be hard for me to write at least something positive otherwise.
Wait, the Jubilost Narthropple? Author of the 14 and a half eulogies to Pitax? Oh my! Every student in the Academy of Grand Arts devoured your books, especially after King Aravetti banned them, tried you in absentia, and sentenced you to death.
I like how she's carrying this conversation while she's chest deep in water.
I see at least someone in this shabby barony has at least a rudimentary education, even if they got them in such a dubious establishment as the Pitax Academy of Grand Arts.
I was expelled for irreverence.
I'm trying to laugh quietly because my family's asleep. So he's like, finally, one of you knows who I am. And then he insults her college and she's like, I was expelled.
Is this so? Well, if it is true, then you just might not be beyond hope.
And what is such a famous person doing that far from civilization?
I pursued two objectives. The first is to write an article on this new barony of yours for the Independence. The second is to draw a detailed map of the stolen lands. Before this barony appeared, it had been too dangerous to come here, but now an opportunity has appeared. Thanks to you, I must add. So, as you can see, the freedom of speech sometimes grants positive comments too. Anyway, I'm almost done with this journey. My article is practically ready, so is the map. All that's left to do now is to find an old dwarven outpost established here several centuries ago.
What's the dwarven outpost you're searching for?
Your ignorance is stunning. You create a barony, and still you know nothing about the lands you own. I'll have to enlighten you on the subject. You see, long ago there was a dwarven trade route crossing these lands. It connected Five Kings Mountains and the north. The route was so important to the dwarves that they were generous enough to set a number of outposts along it, manned with armed guardians to provide protection for the traders. One of these outposts must be somewhere nearby, lost and completely forsaken, but nothing can avoid the watchful eye of the great cartographer Jubilost Narthropple. I will find this outpost, and I will mark its location on the map. You can trust me on that.
Tell me, is this old dwarven outpost abandoned? Is it possible it's now used by trolls as a lair, for instance?
Why not? Dwarves like being underground, trolls like being underground too. It's quite possible after dwarves left, their warm and cozy place fell into the hands of less attractive creatures.
I'm looking for the troll's lair. Maybe we're looking for the same place. Let's join our efforts and start looking together.
Well, you proved to be a capable companion in a case of emergency. I guess I can entrust you with covering my back. Let's go. I will send someone for my cart later.
Okay, cool. So you can join the party.
Sublime!
All right. Sublime! All right, so next time I'm in town, I will take a look at his skills. I know he's an alchemist. I don't remember entirely what that means he has. I think he throws grenades or something. So there's the ponies. Leave the ponies alone. I think if I had, like, gotten them during the cart thing, I could have had them help pull the cart out of the water or something.
Our victory is
Oh my God.
certain.
Tear them apart!
Okay, and we got a box up here. Grab all of that. And is there anything else over here? A little bit. Also, hey Vandal, what's up? Oh god, this guy? What do you mean this guy? Mr. Narthropple is positively delightful. Did you not know that you are in the presence of greatness?
We will prevail.
Should do it.
Alpha Wolf. I don't think it's gonna live that long. It's dead. Ring of Prot +1. Nice, another one. Does anyone here not have a Ring of Prot? Looks like everyone has one, so that can go to one of the people in town. Okay.
Follow me.
I think we can go back to the world mount.
Or don't.
Jubilost is the anti-Lindsay. I mean, they seem to get along okay. And one last look at the loot. Alright, leave. So we have found the gnome. Alright. Quick save there. And we will eagerly pick it up from here, chat, next time.